Sarvasamarampham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Sahana Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Yesterday we left at this point. We didn't leave here, but one of the last questions that was there with reference to is Vedanta to be believed or to be followed. And that word followed, actually my question would have been better if I had asked, should Vedanta be believed or should Vedanta be studied? That would have probably clarified. So that followed word, because it is likely to have created a confusion, I'm going to just explain this word practice that is used here. Vedanta is neither theory nor practice. When the word practice is used in this quote, it means how, say, in other schools of thought, like yoga, like karma mimamsa, karma kanda, you will have very little knowledge imparted. The rest of it is left for you to practice. Practice means abhyas. Abhyas means karna. You have to do it. So you learn the principles of yoga. It doesn't mean that you get the fruit of yoga. You learn the principles of karma kand. Doesn't mean that you know them. Doesn't mean that you are going to get the fruit of that ritual, that karma. For you to get its end that is prescribed in what is taught, the big adhar is, the big setting is, the big expectation is, the big one has to depend upon doing it. What happens in Vedanta? In Vedanta, whatever knowledge is given, every bit of it is free of that kind of a practice. Practice, the word is anushtan. Anushtan means following it. Anushtan, पीछे उसको करते रहना पड़ता है. So supposing if someone says, like we say, okay, do japa, that means knowing to do japa is not going to give you the benefit of doing the japa. In such a way, people are confused about what is to be done with Vedantic knowledge. What is the practice there? Kya karna hai humko? People come with this orientation. People have this by default. All of us have this by default, that we believe after knowing something, we will be enabled to do something which is right. And that doing is what Vedanta is teaching us. That is a difference. If that is going to be the mindset, then we will miss the point mostly, because it's not that Vedanta will not reveal to us what is to be done, but the focus is of Vedanta a means to know yourself. It is a way in which you discover yourself, and once you have knowledge of yourself, but sure, like I said yesterday, you are going to have the roots of it. Now, So far, I hope this clarifies to everyone. And I will share the theme that we were doing yesterday about the Gita itself. Mahabharata itself, I mean. Where we ended yesterday. Okay? We'll just start revising this bit. The main point here was Arjuna's state of mind. Who's the hero in our Gita? Arjuna and Krishna. They are our primary heroes. Arjuna is actually the hero because he is the one what has gone through him, how he goes through a situation, what has happened to him. It's not a symbolic of what happens to us. It's identical to what happens to us. It is in different degrees, but what he undergoes is what human beings are subject to undergo. Sometime or the other, somewhere or the other, somehow or the other, it is that state of mind in which the Gita gets unfolded. So here he said, very confident he was, yataha dharmaha tataha jayaha. Yataha krishnaha tataha jayaha. Again in 14th, yataha krishnaha tataha jayaha. So in 11th verse here, yataha dharma tataha jaya. His mind is convinced if I follow dharma, victory has to be ours. Then he knows that dharma is represented. Krishna is always on the side of dharma. Krishna here would mean the entire natural law which manifests in the continuity of life. I am taking it in this context. Here, Krishna doesn't just mean that, but here, Krishna is equated to dharma. Equated in the sense, Krishna is representing, he will only be where dharma is. So, Arjuna knows his choice that he has taken. He knows that if he has to win the war, if he has Krishna by his side, that supreme confidence that he has, that I can do it on my own. He doesn't need any other yodha. He can win the battle on his own grounds. All he needs is, he knows if Krishna is on his side, and Krishna will be only on his side if he's on the side of dharma. So it's kind of a check. If I'm fighting a dharmic war, however difficult it be, I will win at the end. That is what he goes on saying. Then we saw here that in the last 3 verses also, he's glorified Krishna. And here, this chapter ended. Now, in the 22nd chapter, Sanjaya is narrating what had happened to Yudhishthira. And how Yudhishthira starts to plan his army once he's been uplifted by Arjuna's words, assured by Arjuna's words, reminded. Most of us have wisdom within ourselves. But when what happens to Arjuna, or temporarily what has happened to Yudhishthira here, when that happens, our own thought process is muddled, gets confused. And so what is right, which I should do, seems to be submerged in the thought of that state of confused mind. So once Yudhishthira has got reassured, means his confused thoughts have been dispelled, now his memory of what he is to do has resurfaced. He has the knowledge. So once this is done, Yudhishthira now takes charge and starts planning the war. Now we had ended here. If only Vasudeva hadn't said this to Arjuna, Krishna had not said this to Arjuna, perhaps the Gita would have not been included in the Mahabharata at all. This seems to be a pivotal point from where Arjuna's mind shakes up. All these words are important. A sudden situation, a sudden word, a sudden happening, a sudden perception, and the stability of the mind of a person, of a jiva, of an individual, or the knowledge that an individual holds takes itself up within oneself. One gets, don't we use the word, no? I'm shaken up. I was shaken up from within. I was shocked. I was shaken up. No? That indicating the state of mind. So here Vasudeva had said, look across, see the opposite army. They are led by the great Bhishma, who has conquered, who has successfully done 300 Ashwamedha Yajna. One Ashwamedha Yajna in a lifetime itself was highly achievable. 300 means he is an unconquered warrior. He is an unconquered king. Such a person is standing in front of you. And slowly, he says, advising Arjuna that you start the fight with a desire or with a plan to get Bhishma first. This is where he came, and then he tells Arjuna Durga ki stuti. Now he tells him, once he's ready, he says, now before you start the war, Krishna advises Bhagwan, पवित्र होकर शत्रुओं की पराजित करने के लिए दुर्गा देवी की स्तुति करो. Bhagwan Uvacha is telling Arjuna that in your mind now, pavitra hokar means bring your entire pure intention and do remember Durga Devi, stuti karo uski, so that you have the blessings, the auspiciousness from Durga Devi. And having done this, Arjuna steps down from his chariot and he does the stuti of Devi, Durga. And in one of the stuti mantras, these are the different names of Devi. So this is just by the way information. Savitri, addressing Durga. Swaha, Swadha, Kala, Kashtha, Saraswati, Ved Mata, तथा वेदांत, ये सब तुम्हारे ही नाम है. वेदांत उच्चित, you're called by these names. This was just by the way. But having finished the stuti, now he says, Devi says, blesses him, and she says, तुम थोड़े ही समय में शत्रुओं पर विजय प्राप्त करोगे. स्वल्पनेव तु कालेन शत्रुन Jeshyasi Pandava. Jeshyasi means in the future tense. O Pandav, in a very little time, Swalpam. Swalpam is little. Evatu, indeed in a very short time. The war is not going to be like we are having the present war everywhere. More than 60 days. No, in a short time, you are going to win the Shatru. You are going to overcome them. Tum to sakshat nar ho. Narahatu Evamasi. You are yourself, Arjuna and Krishna, Narayan. That's how they say. You are yourself a great Purusha. Ye Sakshat Narayan तुम्हारे सहायक हैं. You are Nar and you have Narayan with you. तुम रण क्षेत्र में शत्रुओं के लिए अजेय हो. Nobody can conquer you when you have Narayan with you. साक्षात इंद्र भी तुम्हें पराजित नहीं कर सकते. The greatest one who has the greatest power in creation, Bhagwan Indra, even he cannot defeat you. Having heard this from Devi, feeling blessed, as if assured again, ऐसा कहकर वरदायिनी देवी दुर्गा वहां से क्षण भर में अंतर्ध्यान हो गई। वह वरदान पाकर, दिस इज द पॉइंट टू बी नोटेड, कुंती कुमार अर्जुन को अपनी विजय का विश्वास हो गया। लब्ध्वा वरम तु कौन्तेय मेने विजयम आत्मनः, he started to have full belief, full confidence. He knew for certainty that he's going to win the war. Such an Arjuna, clear-headed, following the rules and the niyamas, not confused at all, capable, having the samarthyam, skillful, dexterous, intelligent in the sense he knows where the planning has to be, what has to be done. He is the, when Devi uses the word Nara here, he means he is the epitome of Nara. Of all human beings, he represents the exalted one, means he's perfect. You know how we keep looking for a perfect human being? He's a perfect human being in that sense. Such a person who's confident of his success in the war. Then, now, this is just a conclusive verse. Famous again. Yatra dharmo dhyutihi kantihi yatra rihi shrihi tatha matihi. Yato dharmaha tatha krishnaha yataha krishnaha tato jayaha. Again, reaffirmation. Wherever there is nyayachit bartav, means always following what is legitimately to be done. Nyayachit, what is to be followed. Teja and kanti, bright, illumining. Ri, Shri, Buddhi, all these are Devi's qualities also, means you have power, you have, Shri is going to come further in explanation, auspiciousness in every form, and Buddhi. Wherever there is Dharma Vidyaman, and Dharma is the one on which you are supported. Krishna is there, and wherever Sri Krishna is there, Vijay is certain. This was a conclusive verse of this chapter. And then again, Dhritarashtra and Sanjay Vacha, just a few verses here. 24th verse. सैनिकों के हर्ष और उत्साह के विषय में धृतराष्ट्र and Sanjay का संवाद. So Dhritarashtra is asking, what is the condition, mental state of my soldiers when they are now going to be the soldiers when they are now ready for the war? Are they enthusiastic? Are they willing to fight? Are they eager? You know, that, what was that movie? You know, they give that warrior shout. So,
Josh.
Josh, yeah. Something, there was that word.
Something
No?
like that.
Sorry?
Something like that, even I don't know.
Yeah. That Josh there. You know, so are they full of that to fight for Duryodhana, for us? So he's asked this. And here now starts Panchavimsho Adhyayaha, 25th chapter. Srimad Bhagavad Gitayam, the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So the 25th chapter in the Bhishma Parva is the first chapter in the Gita, and this is where the Gita starts with actually the first chapter is just again a preface. Like in a book you have a preface, first chapter is also the preface of Gita. Still continuing with the background. Now before I continue here in the Gita, there are a few more things that we need to take care of. What does the word Bhagavad Gita mean? A lot of us have even some sort of a confusion around that. What does it mean? Bhagavad Gita. First and foremost, please understand, everybody note this. Bhagavad Gita is different from Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is different from Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is a Puran. Srimad Bhagavatam it is called. The Leelas of Krishna also. This is Bhagavad Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Yes. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as a part of the Mahabharata, different from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a Puran, which is also based on Krishna's Leelas from childhood, but it's more a Puranic story, Purana. This is from Mahabharata. Now, first of all, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. When you join the words, the sandhi takes place and it becomes Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So the takar becomes dakar. I'm not going into the rule, but so that initially many people are always wondering, is it Srimad Bhagavad Gita? Somewhere you read Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The word is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Combining to speaking in a quick form, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So the words are joined. That's the beauty of Sanskrit. Gita word first comes from the root gai. Are you able to see the full screen?
Yes, Ji.
Okay. Let's just continue. So gai is the root. Gai, all Sanskrit words have a root word. Gai means to sing. And you add another affix after and it becomes Gita. Gita means sang. Sang. Past tense. Sang. Gita. Bhagavad Gita means song of the Lord. What is Bhagavat? Lord in English is song of Bhagavan. What is Bhagavat? We've seen this verse before, but for those who do not know, Bhaga is the word. Vat is again an affix. What is Bhaga? Bhaga is these 6 qualities in full measure. The one who has, he is Bhaga. The one who has it is Van, Bhagavan. What are the 6 qualities? Aishwarasya, supremacy, the final ruler. Overlordship means the one who is the final controller. Aishwarasya, samagrasya, one word. Viryasya, full measure, viryam. Yashaha, fame. Shriyaha, Shri word here. Shriyaha, wealth. Jnana vairagyaha cha eva. So, Gyan and Vairagya, Tannam, these 6, Iti Anga. Whoever has these 6 in full measure, infinite measure, they are, these 6 qualities are Bhaga, one who has it is Bhagavan. Srimat word is actually used as an adjective to Bhagavan, Bhagavat. Srimat means fundamentally just endowed with Shri. And here Shri, one word we all know. I think I'm back. Am I back? I'm back. Okay. This is the light has gone, so the Wi-Fi goes off by the time the generator is on and things like that. So this is also on a mobile internet, so it's likely to be fluctuating. So please bear. We were at saying, who is Bhagavan? The one who has all these in full measure. And so he's the Narayan. So who is Nara? He's the one who has all this, but in alpam, alpam Whoever says I have little of all this or not at all is a Nara. Whoever can claim, knows that he is all of this in full measure, has discovered it in full measure, is Narayan, is here Bhagavan. So Shri Mat is an adjective meaning the one who is full, is endowed with Shri. Shri means wealth, prosperity. In a general sense, it actually means everything that is Shubh, Kalyanmay. We all aspire for Kalyan, for Shubh Hona, something auspicious to happen in our life. Welcome. Shri represents that. Of course, the name of Lakshmi also, and here it also fits because Lakshmi Pati is Vishnu and he is the one whose words are here as Krishna. Shubha here, Shri as Shubha, in this context in particular, means Brahma Vidya. Shri Mad means one who is endowed with Brahma Vidya. Such a Bhagavan, his words, his sung words. So the full meaning is Srimata Bhagavata Gita, the song sung by Shriman Bhagavan. Shriman here is how. This is for the sake of completing the portion, because as some of us who've been studying Gita for many years now, this is addressing them also. They may be on Facebook to further their study. If it overwhelms you, don't worry. It should not, ideally speaking, but if it does, you can skip it because we'll come to you can skip this part. But Shri Mat, the word was Shri Mat. That Mat there is the Matu Pratyaya in Sanskrit, and Matu is used as an affix to any noun or substantive in the sense of who possesses that. So, or which contains it. So, that Matu, Mat, also then the masculine form is Shriman, and but sure, feminine form will be Shrimati. So if I say to someone, Shrimati, who's there? Shrimati Priyanka. You know what it means now? Or Shriman, I can't see your faces, but I'm presuming Arora Uncle-ji is there, some Shriman Varun is here. The one who is got Shreeness endowed. It's an epithet also to indicate Sambodhan, one who has Shri. That Man, from Mat being neuter, Man becomes masculine. Shri Man. So Shri Mad, when it's used, very intelligent, I think you can pick it up. Krishna here was talking. Which Krishna? It's not a symbolic Krishna. Krishna who is a Shriman. Srimad Bhagavad Gita means Krishna who was physically, as if physically, we can only say as if, but Sriman Krishna, Bhagavan, Uvacha here, and Shri in the full sense would mean Dharma, Artha and Kama. All three are taken together in the word Shri. So if you are saying Shriman or Shrimati, someone means in a way of Sambodhan, you are saying the one who has this, means it's a positive affirmation being sent across also. But this is for the sake of those who would like to complete the meaning. So I'm returning back to this screen and hoping that this word has full clarity now. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In a very simple way, if you want to skip all of it, come to the next important topic. Yesterday we saw there are so many commentaries, so many translations, there are so many different views on the content of the Gita. How do you decipher what is the actual content? Is the screen still shared? No. I don't think so. Hannah? No? You can see now?
Yes, Diti.
So Tatparya Nishchaya. How do you decipher what is the final message of Gita? What is Gita trying to say? To arrive at Tatparya means essential, deciding the essential factor, essence of the Gita. There is a method to go about to know this. Shastra has Shadlinga in it. Shadlinga means there are 6 lingas which are indicative of, with the help of these 6 points, you can decide what is this book, any book for that matter, trying to convey in essence. The first one is Upakrama Upasamhara. It's in a verse form. Upakrama Upasamharau Abhyasah Apurvata Phalam Arthavadaha Upapatti cha Lingam Tatparya Nirnayaha. To decide Tatparya Nirnay. क्या कहना चाहते हैं? हम हिंदी में बहुत बार बोलते हैं ना, if somebody is going on ranting and you are tired of just listening and you just want to end it and say, कहना क्या चाह रहे हो? Tell me in short, what do you want to say? That कहना क्या चाह रहे हो means give me the essence of what you want to say. What is the point that is trying to be conveyed? So through 700 verses, what is the point that is getting conveyed? That तात्पर्य का निर्णय करने के लिए लिंग प्रमाण is there. Shad lingas are used. Upakrama Upasamhar is the first one. How is the text starting and how does it conclude? So if it is starting at a premise, it must conclude at that premise, having solved what it said, having addressed what it was saying in the beginning. Therefore, what I said, this is how it is. So Upakrama and Upasamhara, conclusion, commencement, conclusion, they must have tangibility with each other. They must be equated to each other. If you have an Upakrama and Upasamhara is something else, then that means this text is not clear. It is not clear in its communication. Upakrama and Upasamhar must be the same. Then is Abhyasaha. Abhyasaha doesn't mean just practice here, means it is repeating, reiterating the point that it is conveying again and again in different ways, in different contexts. The third thing is Apurvata, and this is important. Apurvata means whatever it says, it should not have been available to be known anywhere else. There is a novelty of the topic. So, for example, Vedas will say there is karma-based gati. This karma-based gati in different lokas, rebirth, redeath, supposing. Now, this is a topic which you don't find anywhere else. It will only come in that text. So, Apurvata means it addresses something which we as humans will not figure it out in any other way. That is the uniqueness of the text itself. Apurvata. Then phala. Phala means what is its intention? What is it going to give us? What is the fruit that you are going to get out of it? That is phala. Then arthavad means it will glorify what it wants to say, and in glorifying what it wants to say as Upakrama, Upasamhara, the main topic, explanatory statements, it will also do ninda of what it is opposing it. So arthavad and ninda will usually go together. Ninda means it will kind of criticize the opposite views. And upapatti is illustration, examples, with the help of certain examples. Like in Vedanta, our famous example is snake and rope. So you have this six-fold, 6 steps, pointers, with which you can arrive at what is the main topic of that book. Applying this, the acharyas, the lineage, and here in particular we are doing the Advaita Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita is ascertained to impart Brahma Vidya. And what is the phala of it? Samsara Nivritti is its main topic. So what is Bhagavad Gita going to be addressing? It is going to be giving Brahma Vidya. For what prayojan? For what purpose? For samsara nivritti. And just the first one, upakrama and upasamhara, and how it addresses samsara, that topic we are picking up. Where actual Gita to be said is when Arjuna states his problem. So all this confidence has come, and then we'll see that in the first chapter, when we start it, we'll see how slowly Arjuna slips in his mind. And by the end of the first chapter and 6 verses of the second chapter, in the 7th verse, he finally gives up. His mind is confused. He's feeling helpless inside. You know that state of mind when we say sab andhera dikh raha hai. This darkness felt within. You know, one is dejected. Sometimes one is stressed. You don't see a way forward. You see the end of the tunnel. You can't see the end of the tunnel. You know, you feel confused. You feel all those kind of emotions that one goes through. He says in the 7th verse, he states his problem to Krishna, and all this was happening, remember, in the battleground there itself. And he says, Karpanya dosho pahata svabhavaha pritchami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha yat shreya syat nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. He says, Karpanya dosha. This is the dosha he finds in himself. He says, I apahat swabhavaha. I am overwhelmed with karpanya dosh. What is karpanya dosh? Karpanya dosh is a sign of mental weakness. Kripanata. Kripanata means feeling poor me, poor me. You know, that when you feel that poor me kind of feeling that comes in us, that is poor me. Karpanya doshaha. Apahat swabhava. I'm taken over by this. What has happened actually? How did I come to this karpanya dosha in myself? Dharma sammudha chetaha. With reference to dharma, what am I to do? Sammudha, not ordinary. Sammudha. Mudha means confusion, delusion. Sammudha means terrible delusion. बुरी तरह से confuse हो गया हूं मैं. Chetaha, my mind is terribly confused, is badly confused, is totally confused, whatever you use, is completely overwhelmed at this point with reference to what am I to do? And I'm feeling completely a weakness within me. Karpanya se I have been overcome. Prichami tvam, I'm asking you. Prichami, I asking, tvam, to you. Yat shreyaha syat. And this is important. Yat shreyaha syat. Whatever is shreyas for me. Shreyas means, again from Shri word, whatever is going to be beneficial for me, whatever is uplifting me, whatever is auspicious for me. Nishchitam bruhi. Tell me with certainty. Tanme, to you. Shishyaste ham shadhi. Mom, I am surrendering to you. I'm becoming shishya. Surrendering is a wrong word. I am ready to be taught by you. I am ready to listen to you. I'm ready to be, I'm ready to listen is the right word. Shishyaha means what? The one who's ready to be taught. There is a vigraha for this word also in Sanskrit. The one who is ready to learn, is a shishya. He says, I'm ready to learn. How is it that my mind has become dharma sammudha chetaha? So the Gita is actually going to start after this point. when Arjuna has confessed that he is in a completely deluded state now. Remember, he was a confident one who was sure of his victory. And he has arrived in a few verses later. He's arrived at a point where he says, I have now got confused. I do not know what is the right thing to do. And then starts the Gita, 18 chapters, conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. And at 18th chapter, 73rd verse, Krishna says, Nashto mohaha. Now my moha has got destroyed. Nashtaha mohaha. So what has happened? Smrita labdhva. I have regained my memory. Oh, am I being still there? Am I there? Because my internet was hopefully the other one.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, we
Ah, we are saved then. Because light here has again gone, the Wi-Fi is gone, and I'm on the battery internet. So very good. So I can continue. So nashto mohaha smrital labdhva. Here, this delusion of mine is gone. So smrital labdhva, which is the smriti that he has again gained? Can any one of you point? What smriti has he again gained?
the confidence that has given you that I'm on.
The confidence that
that
he
will
had before. Exactly. Not only that, the reasoning he gave to Yudhishthir why he will win. Why this was a dharmic war. He was convinced about it. He had Shastra behind him. There was conviction in him to know that even if it's a very painful thing to do, even if it seems apparently, as Dhritarashtra said, adharma, to kill your own teacher. This was Dhritarashtra's reasoning. According to Dhritarashtra, Pandavas are doing adharma because they're killing their own elders. They're killing their own family. What? He thinks to gain their land, to gain their kingdom back. So from Dhritarashtra's point, Pandavas are adharma. From Pandavas' point, they have no doubt about it that this is to be done and not for a personal gain. This is to be done, is determined not through a personal point of gain. What is to be done is a different criteria. And yes, you will gain as a byproduct, but it is not your prime concern in a decision. Because it benefits me, therefore I do. Any action that is done because it benefits me alone, then that is what Duryodhana was doing. He wanted the kingdom. That is what Dhritarashtra was doing. They want the kingdom. But what is it that the Pandavas showed throughout their life? They were ready to give up the kingdom. They were ready to, even with 5 villages, even with a tinka of a land, etc. All those things as the story goes, as the Itihas tells us. But here, that's Smriti, this is a righteous war to be fought. It's his duty as a Kshatriya to engage in this action. He says, that delusion that overtook me, and I got confused in my data, I would say. What is right and what is wrong? Mix up ho gaya. Tvat prasadat, by your grace, O Achyuta, my moha is gone. Nashto moha. Smritilabdha maya. Tat prasadat Achyuta. Hitaha asmi. Now I am stable again. Hitaha asmi. I have become clear again. Gata sandehaha. My sandeha is gone. Gata is again gone. Sandeha is destroyed, gone. I'm no longer in doubt. Karishye vachanam tava. And this is what is important. Karishye vachanam tava. Tava means your. Whatever you have said to me, vachanam, karishye. Karishye vachanam tava. This is what is actually the point of Gita. How it leads a person when it unfolds. the knowledge. How I let it lead my life. As Arjuna had said in the previous verse, he had a desire that Krishna becomes his Sarthi. Sarthi means what? He should lead his life. He should lead his life for his Shreyas. Here at the end of the Gita, he says, I am now going to follow what you are saying. Now I'm going to stop here for a minute and we are going to understand stopping. Karishye vachanam tava. For all of us, why is Gita important? Naturally speaking, human beings have an impulsive, like any other animal, a way to proceed in life they choose in life. Based on what? Sukha prapti, dukkha nivritti. What will give them joy? What will avoid pain? Sukha prapti, dukkha nivritti. These impulses is what pushes a person towards to whole life. Now, when someone wants to do better in their life, means live a different life, live a better life, then there are certain principles that you have to abide in. Those principles is what is stated in the Gita in a general way. So when a person says, I want my Shreyas, spiritual growth, I want my growth, I want to mature as an individual, I want to be freed of this kind of limitedness that I experience within myself, then there are principles that I follow. Those principles, he said, I allow them, my life to be led on those principles. What does this word mean? What does this sentence mean? I allow the principles to lead me, means I abide in them. I choose to abide in them. This is what is going to be the of Tatparya of Bhagavad Gita. Samsara nivritti. Give you Brahma Vidya for Samsara nivritti. Now, we ask, why study the Bhagavad Gita? Why do we want to study the Bhagavad Gita? Because I want Shanti. Simple term. Bhagavad Gita is showing us the way to conduct one's life so that what one wants, that peace, relative and ultimate, comes. And that samsara nivritti, by the destruction of samsara, he gains his peace. Samsara, if it is going to be the topic, uski nivritti hoegi, then what is samsaraha? What does the word samsaraha mean? Sam is an upasarga, together, coming from the root three. Three means to go, to flow, to glide. Imaginary would be how a snake glides. To flow, to glide, something like that. With another affix later, it becomes samsara. Samsri, when it's brought, samsar. Samsri, when it's brought, it means to wander about. So what is samsaraha? Wandering. We are wandering. Samyak sarati iti samsaraha. Samsara in one word means wandering about. This wandering, when you start taking the meaning, has got extended into punarapi maranam, etc. But this entire relation of how Brahma Vidya is addressing a jiva, an individual, and the samsara that he experiences. This is said very beautifully in a Mundaka Upanishad verse. This is again a metaphor, a story, in a way, a metaphor. And he says in that, the verse is, Va suparna sayuja sakhaya samanam vriksham parishasvajate tayoho anyaha pipalam svat atti anashnan anayaha abhichakashiti. Let me share the text with you. The Mundaka text, you'll be able to relate it better then. Yeah, I think you can see it. Dwa Suparna, it's a very famous story. You must have heard. Two birds sitting in the same tree. In a very general way, I'm saying first. I'll just expand it for those on the Facebook. Yeah. Okay. Dwa Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya. There are two birds who are perched on a tree, same tree. Amongst them, one bird is busy eating the fruit of the tree, different fruits on the tree. Another bird is simply just watching. This is the first verse. I'll explain the details here a little. The second verse is Samane vrikshe purusha nimagnaha anishaya shochati muhyamanaha jushtam yada pashyati anyam ishamasya mahimanam iti vita shokaha. Samane vrikshe purusha. Both are the same tree. One of those birds, the one who was busy eating the fruits, nimagnaha anishaya, is completely immersed, absorbed. Nimagnaha means involved ho gaya hai, pura. Achhe se is got involved in his eating the fruit. And then he's feeling anishaya. He's feeling helpless. And he's sochati muhyamanaha. He's in grief. He thinks he's in grief. He has, here it says, Deena Swabhav ke karan. Anishaya is Deena Swabhav. Tam yada. But the minute he sees, yada, when, when he sees pashyati, anyam, the other bird. Which is the other bird? Jushtam. Jushtam is Isham. That other bird is the one which is Isha. Isha is the Lord, the God, the Ishvara. Mahimanam iti. When he sees the glory of that bird, the other bird, Vita shokaha, his entire grief is gone. He overcomes grief. These two verses are the two birds. Who are the two birds in our context? Can anyone say this? You're not able to see the screen again?
Not now.
Oh, what's happening?
Only for the last 60 seconds. Like 40%.
I know.
Gone.
I'll just reshare. I don't know why. I have to get to the Blue Jeans people and ask them what is the Karan for my app not working. It'll take me some time.
I think when the network becomes too poor on your side.
Probably. That's right. Could be the reason. Okay? Yeah. Can now see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Yes. Yes, Shruti. Saksh. Yeah, absolutely correct. So who are the two birds?
Arjuna and Krishna.
Correct. Sitting on the same tree. Which is the tree? Sorry?
Battlefield.
Battlefield.
Kurukshetra.
Okay.
Life.
Huh?
Deepti ji, can we think of them as Jiva and Atma sitting on the body?
Same tree is within this body. Same tree, here only. The two birds are here. Amongst them, one is busy eating. Pippalam swat is busy eating. Who's the one who's busy eating the fruits?
The world, Jeev, yeah.
Arjun, Jiva, individual. Anashnan, the one who's not eating. The other one. Abhichakashiti is only witnessing, is only seeing.
Atman.
Excellent. Now this verse, through the help of the Bhashyam, I'm introducing the Bhashyam also because you'll start realizing the style and how simple and how beautiful it conveys. Dwa word, the yellow is the words in the Moolam. These words in actual text itself, Shruti itself, are Moolam. They are called Moolam. So Bhashyam is the commentary, and the style is that each word of the verse, the shloka, the mantra, is given a meaning. Is the Bhashyam here? Simple Bhashyam of this. Mundaka is a simple Bhashyam, therefore. Dwa means what? Dwav, two. Suparna is what?
Bird.
Bird. And what is the meaning of the bird? Shobhana patanau. Patanau means wings. So the ones who have beautiful wings. So in Sanskrit, you have to derive the meaning by description they give sometimes. Whoever has got a Shobhana Patanam, beautiful, the ones who has wings, is called a bird. What is that Suparna? Pakshi Samanyatva. Samanyatva means jati, Pakshi jati, Samanya jati. Who is a Suparna? Pakshi, in other words. So Suparna is actually meaning only one word, Pakshi, two birds. That is Suparna, two, dual number. Sayuja, that was in the mantra, Sayujau Sahaiva Sarvada Yuktav. They are always together. Jivatma and your Paramatma means the Brahman, Atman, are always together. Sayuja. You can't separate them. How are they Sayuja? Sakhaya. They are as Sakhayo Samana Akhyano. Sakha is a relationship where both are on the same degree. In our Vaidika Parampara, a lot of Vyavhar was based upon relationships and the kind of relationship. And Vyavhar was to be exhibited based on that relationship. And so, relationship could be where you are superior, there is someone below you. So the one who is supposed to be below you, so like the example they would give is, supposing you are the boss and there's someone you have employed, the superior, and in that role he is inferior, not as a person, but in that role he is supposed to follow what the superior is saying. That is one relation. The other relationship is from your side, you are inferior, but there's someone superior. So you are supposed to follow the rule of the one who's lesser in that relation, not as a person again. As a relation. What is in Sakha? Equal. They both have the same standing. Paramatma, Jivatma, Sakhayo. They are both Sakhas. Always together. They have a Samana Abhivyakti. Their expression is Samana. Samanam, the verse here, Samanam Vriksham Parishasvajate. Samanam now, Avishesham Upalabdhi Adhisthana Taya Ekam. Avishesham means non-specific. Upalabdhi Adhishthan. It's not as different places they are. Ekam. It is in the same place that they are both available. What is that same place? The Moolam said Vriksham. What is the meaning of Vriksham? Vriksham iva. Like the Vriksham. Uchchedanam samanyat shariram. So, वृक्ष के समान उच्छेद में समानता होने के कारण शरीर रूप means indicative of the shariram. Then the next word was parishasvajate. What is parishasvajate? Parishvaktavantau suparna vivaikam vriksham. Parishasvajate is the meaning that is indicative of residing. They are both residing. For what reason are they residing? What is the purpose of both these birds here in this sharir? Phala upabhogartham. For the sake of enjoying the fruits. Phala bhog karne ke liye. Then the vriksha is given the meaning of what you will see in the 15th chapter also, urdhva moolam adha shakha, means here the vriksha is a very specific vriksha, not how you see in the world where the roots are below and the branches are above. Shastra always indicates the vriksha as where the roots are above and the branches are below. Means from that higher has this jagat come. To indicate that all of us are in the branches means we are in the lower expression of lower, as in from that higher root has this world come about. Adhishthan se jagat aaya hai, and in this jagat in different shakhas, different places. So someone is in India, someone is somewhere else, I'm in Delhi, someone is somewhere else. So different shakhas, all these birds are enjoying their respective karma phala. And Suparna, how are their karma phalas come about? Avidya kama karma vasnashraya lingaha upadhi atma ishwarau. These both of them here only, but the jiva has what upadhi? The jivatvam upadhi has come from avidya. Avidya brings about desire, desire brings about karma, karma leaves an impression behind, and in this linga, ashraya, the bird is there, upadhi bheda, only higher, but here as Atma and Ishvara. Tayoho parishaktva anyaha. Between these two, ekaha kshetrajnaha lingaha upadhi vriksham ashritaha. One of them, the one with the kshetrajna lingaha, pipalam, the fruit. What kind of a fruit? Karma nishpannam. Nishpannam is distributed because of your karma. And what is that fruit? Sukha dukkha lakshanam, which has a characteristic of now you are enjoying sukha and now you are suffering. I can't say enjoying dukkha, but from Shastra Drishti it is the same. Sukha dukkha lakshanam, palam, swat. Swat means tasting. What is that tasting word in the Moolam meant? Aneka vichitra vedana swat rupam. Aneka vichitra vedana. Vedana is, from here comes that Buddhist word Vedana also. Means you are experiencing vichitra, different fruits. Vichitra, separate. Anek prakar se vichitra anubhav roop. Vedana means anubhav here. Swad ke karan. That word is called swadu in the Moolam. Bhakshati iti upabhunkte avivekataha. Bhakshati iti. You are enjoying it. Kshan karna, khana. क्या खा रहे हो? अलग भोग. खाते हो. Because of what? Avivekataha. Avivekvash bhogte ho. And what about the other word? Anashnan anya. The one who was not eating. This is the Moolam word. Itara, the other word. Who is that? Ishvaraha. And what is the Ishvara Upadhi? Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhavaha Sarvagnaha Sarvasatta Upadhi Ishvaraha. So the Ishwar, that bird inside you, What is its upadhi? It is nitya shuddha. And we have done this in details before. Nitya shuddha means it is nitya, always there, always pure, shuddha, pure, buddha, manifest as all knowledge, mukta, freed, always free. It is never bound, it is never tied. Of that swabhavaha, sarvagnaha, the all-knower, sarvasatta, ever-existent, such a one with this upadhi, Ishwaraha, na ashnati, is not getting involved in the fruits. The fruits are there, but it is not consuming the fruits. Then in what form does it stay? He says, prerayita, he, asau, ubhayahu, bhojya bhoktra, anitya sakshitva satta matrena. It remains only as sakshi roop, satta matra bhokta, or bhogya, bhokta and bhogya, inspiring this relation between the two. Un dono ka prerak hai, prerayita. In the presence of that Ishvara Upadhi, Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhava Sarvagnya Sarvasatta bird, does this other bird, who is the Jiva bird, gets engaged in actions based on desires and enjoys the fruits, Nana Prakara Phala, all different kinds of fruit which have the Lakshana only of Sukha and Dukkha, and is busy doing all this. The other bird is only prerayita. Prerayita means it's only in its presence does all this happen. Its presence is enough for all this to happen in a jiva's life. And abhichakashiti, pashyati iva kevalam. Moolam was abhichakashiti, pashyati iva. It was only seeing. And in what manner does it see? Darshan matram hi tasya prerayitratva rajavat. How a king overlooks everything. A king doesn't do anything. He's just, by his mere presence, everything is done. Such is the two birds. Then what happens now? So this is now just the introduction of the two birds. Here in this sharira, you have the jiva who's involved in avidya, karma, kama, and is forgetting completely, doesn't look at the other bird, can't see the other bird. The other bird is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhava, is not recognizing that on the same tree there is another bird sitting, whose mere presence brings about all this. So whose mere presence is indicative of allowing the life to flow by its mere presence. Then in the second verse, now what happens? Samane vrikshe purushaha nimagnaha anishaya shochati muhyamanaha. Samane vrikshe means yathokta sharira, in this body now. Purushaha, who's this purushaha? Bhokta. Who's the bhokta? Jivaha. Who's the jivaha? Avidya, kama, karma, phala, rag, adi. Now is the important word. Guru bhara. Akrantaha. Akrantaha. Alambur iva. Alambur iva means, I'll just explain. Important is here. Bhokta. Who's the bhokta? Jiva. Who's this jiva? The one who is avidya van. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know that he is a Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhava. The one who doesn't know this is the one who is said to be the jiva, and that not knowing is avidya. Because he doesn't know he is a jiva, he is a mukta, Nitya Mukta. Therefore, he has desire to do something, to become something, to gain happiness. He has kama then erupting, desires erupting for certain karma phala. Because of the karma phala, now he develops raga adi, raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, all the vices. He has now got. And what has happened because of this? Guru bhara. What is Guru bhara? Heavy, heaviness. Now the mind has become heavy. It's become heavy. It's got so, I'm sure some of you have a better explanation for this word. Guru Bhar means it's getting overwhelmed now with all this raga and dvesha and phala and prapti and loss and I want to do this, I can't do this. The whole that what he's now came on the vriksha to enjoy his fruits has now become Guru Bhara. Mind has become heavy. Har gaya hai man. You know? Hindi mein when we say ub gaya hai ab to. It's become so heavy. Not finding the right word more better than this, but it's become heavy-hearted. You know, now you become, once it becomes heavy-hearted, now this illustration that I said, look at the illustration given here. Samudra jale, in the water of the ocean, when the log of wood is डूबे हुए तंबू के समान, that heavy wood, when it heavy log tambu is thrown, the heaviness of it sinks it in the water. Now the heaviness that is experienced by the jiva in his transactional life sinks him further inside, and nimagnaha gets involved. Nishchayena dehatma bhavam apannaha, and he becomes certain, nishchay purvak, I am the one whose dehatma bhav, I have deha, I am dehavan, I have a body. This bhokta, evam aham manushya, I am this kind of a person. Putraha asya, I am a putra, I am a son. Napta krishaha, मैं etc. कृष हूँ, इसका नाती हूँ, मीन्स पुत्र हूँ, कृषुः हूँ, स्थूलः गुणवान निर्गुणः, I am this body, this grossness, गुणः, qualities, निर्गुणः, I am free of those qualities, or I'm a subtle person, I'm a better person. Sukhi dukhi iti evam pratyayah, I'm sukhi, sukhi hu, dukhi hu, ityadi, in this manner. Na asti anyaha. Na asti anyaha. This is a conclusion that a jiva makes. Na asti, iske alawa main kuch nahi hu. I'm nothing other than this body. I'm nothing other than this now sukhi, now dukhi, with these qualities. Dehavan is, I am this body. मैं इतना निमग्न हूँ on this tree. I've got so involved in it that I cannot see myself as separate from it. Is de se bin, there is nothing else. I have asmaditi jayate mriyate sanyujyate viyujyate cha sambandhina bandhavaihi. And in this manner I am born and I die and I have sambandha and I have viyoga. So we meet and then we part and then etc. etc. Ataha, therefore, anishaya, that was an important word, and I have therefore translated it. Anishaya means powerless. I feel helpless. I feel powerless. Na kasyachit samarthaha, I have no samarthyam. Aham putraha, mama vinishtaha, vritaha, me bharya kim, मैं जीवितेन एक्सेट्रा, मैं किसी कार्य के लिए समर्थ नहीं हूँ, मेरा पुत्र नष्ट हो गया, मेरी स्त्री भी मर गई, अब मेरे जीवन से क्या लाभ है, that kind of a दीन भाव, that, you know, what is that depressed, dejected state of mind. What good have I got in life? What else is there in life, etc. That poor me think, you know, powerless when I feel because of the bhar in my own self. My mind has become bhari. No, I am bhari. Because of that, daya, because of all these thoughts, shochati, there is grief. And the meaning of shochati that Bhashyakara gives, Bhashyakara is another word for Shankaracharya, who's written this Bhashyam. Shochati means santapyati, and this we will all identify. Santapyati means we burn from inside. Tapna. उस भार के कारण अंदर ही अंदर तपते रहना. The constant thought play going on in the mind. So there is this burning inside happening. Tapna. Muhyamanaha anekahi anartha prakaraihi avivekataya chintam apadyamanaha. Muhyamanaha means now he's anekahi anartha prakarahi avivekta. So he starts इस युक्त होकर अविवेकवश अनेकों अनर्थमय प्रकारों से मोहित अर्थात आंतरिक चिंता को प्राप्त हुआ वह शोक यानी संताप करता ही रहता है. He is always grieving. Who is grieving? I want to see if you are following. Who's grieving? Huh?
Jiva.
Jiva is grieving. Because of what is he grieving?
Because he's unhappy with the world.
He's unhappy with the world and sorry, avidya. Yes, he's grieving because he's now got his mind completely involved in remaining stuck with the notion that I am this body eating this fruit, etc. What is the solution? There's in this manner, this shochati manushyaha, shochati santapyati manushyaha, sa evam प्रेत इति तीर्यं मनुष्यादि योनिषु आजवम जवी भावम आपन्नः. In this manner again and again he goes through different yonis. Preta yoni, tiryak means those ones that are on the ground, reptiles on the ground only, don't have a standing posture, or Manushya, except means covering all kinds of lokas, Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyat, not Adhyat, all the lokas. This Jiva is now with the idea that I am a Jivam, Jiva Bhav. Kadachit, Aneka Janmasu, in many lifetimes, Aneka Janma, Kadachit, somehow in many lifetimes, Shuddha Dharma Sanchita Nimittataha. By the nimitta of collecting Shuddha Dharma, अपने शुद्ध धर्म के संचय के कारण, केनचित परम कारुणिकेन, somehow, some करुणावान, करुणा की गुरु के द्वारा, दर्शित, shown the way of what yoga margaha. Here yoga marg doesn't mean yoga darshan, the way to reunite yourself to your peace. How will you do that? In ahimsa, satya, brahmacharya, sarva tyaga, shamadama adi sampanna, samahita atmasan. In many life forms, because of acquiring some Shuddha Dharma, the Jiva has now got some anugraha, comes across some karunya of some guru, and is shown the way further to abide in the values, starting with values like ahimsa, satya, brahmacharya, sarvatyag. Give up all this nonsensical thought bundles in one's head and give up all nonsensical, non-essential, futile thinking, baseless, which have no reasoning at all, just picked up and just clinging on to it. Sarvatyag, give up everything that is binding you and abide in shamadama adi. These are the qualities that we saw. That he says, shamadama adi sampannaha samahita atma san, that person, jushtam, devitam anekaihi yoga margaihi, karmabhihi yada yasmin kale pashyati. That jushtam, because of all this anekaihi efforts that one puts in one's many lifetimes, yasmin kale, when pashyati, sees, how dhyanamanaha, internalizing it. Anyam, the other bird, sitting in the same vrikshaha, upadhi, samsara, anashnaya, pipasa, shoka, moha, jara, mrityu, atitamisham, sarvasya jagataha, ayam ahamasmi. So this other bird, vriksharupa, like Ishwar, yani bhuk, pyas, shok, moha, jara, mrityu आदि से अतीत, संसार धर्म शून्य संपूर्ण जगत के स्वामी को मैं ही संपूर्ण, I am myself, माया आत्मेति विभूतिम महिमानं च जगत रूपम अस्य एव मम परमेश्वरम अस्य इति यदैवं दृष्टा. When he recognizes himself in himself, that Parameshwara Linga, Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta, etc. Yadaiva Drashta Tada, then Vita Shokaha, the grief is gone. Overcome, शोक रहित हो जाता है. And सर्वस्मिन् अशोक सागर अद्विग्नम प्रमुच्यते कृतकृत्यः भवति इत्यर्थः. This कृतकृत्य means now he is ever accomplished. He has done what is to be done. He is now liberated. There's nothing more left for him. So between these two birds, you see the entire message of Arjuna, how he, being confident, slips in his mind, gets shokagrast, and the first chapter is going to show us the samsara lakshana. Shok and moh are the samsara lakshana. Whoever jiva is shokgrast and mohgrast is samsari. And then what happens? Bharam, feels bharam inside, thinks within oneself, starts to sink within oneself, and so till he recognizes his own Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhavaha, that journey, that conversation that took place between the two, to help him get to that, is what is going to be the topic of the Gita. Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya Samanam Vriksham Parishas Sujate Tayoho Anyaha Pipala, etc. So, with this, I think we'll conclude the class. Is this clear so far? Any questions?
Deepti ji, I just wanted to understand the relevance of the story. Like you were using it to bring the point of the relevance of Bhagavad Gita. Was that the entire?
So when we see, we said samsara nivritti. What is samsara? That samsara is shown in these two examples, in these two birds.
Okay.
So the bird which is going through all this is samsari. So this samsari who is represented in Arjuna in this context is the Bhagavad Gita's relevance. And that is removing true knowledge when he sees the other bird, recognizes, then the samsara is gone, and concludes the message. Yeah?
And this is, sorry, Deepti ji, again I'm asking, this is a part of which text? This
Mundaka Upanishad.
Mundaka.
So very famous these, but the purpose of bringing it is Sakhaya. These two birds are ever there together. What is the relation between Krishna and Arjun?
Always together.
And what is the relation you will see in the book also? He says they are Sakha. They have been Sakha. They were all. That's their relation between them. And finally, till he says, "I'm ready to be uplifted from this state of mind. Tell me what is the right thing." Then he becomes the Shishya. So these two words are, that Sakha word is also helping us understand Jivatma Paramatma relation.
So,
Always.
do we say Atma superior to Jeev, or they are equal? Like Ishwar is superior, but
Yeah. That they coexist, in that sense they're equal. But the minute I identify that Shishyastvam, when I identify I want to get rid of my samsara, then the relationship becomes that Guru and Shishya. So your Paramatma is your higher being. So you come to your higher point. And Sakha relationship, correct. Yes. Right? So with this we will end. And another question. And then now next point, of course, just a very general thing. But maybe we'll just cover it in the next one, where Vedanta comes.
See, can I ask one last question?
Anji, please.
So I think you had mentioned 6-fold qualities of a text also. So there was 6-fold qualities of Bhagwan, and then of a religious text, there were 6 qualities. That
Not qualities.
Or
The indicators, the marks, the 6 marks. Upakrama, Upasamharaha. Those 6 marks are there. Phalam. Those 6 indicators which are helping us to determine the content of the text. So, Upakrama, Upasamhara, Abhyasa, Apurvata, Phalam, Arthavad and Upapatti. Yeah. And this is applicable to all texts, all Vedantic Shastra texts. When Nirnaya has to be made Nishchitam, then these marks are what have been based on these. So the commentaries are forwarded.
Thank you.
So Deepti ji, one last question.
Anji.
So in the 2 birds, initially it will be the Jiva and the Ishvara. And eventually there is only one bird.
Excellent point. Excellent point. I had not mentioned it yet, but that is the conclusion. Finally, there'll only be one bird because this jiva's not there. So, some teachers somewhere would mention it even more, put masala in it. I have brought it restricted to just what was given in the text, but you can add some masala in it also, won't be wrong. And the masala would be that the bird who was busy eating, sometimes gets the bitter fruits. And then when too much of bitterness has happened, bitter fruit, then suddenly he starts to wonder what is happening, and then is looking at the bird up there, who seems to be very happy. How has it reached that state of, seemingly always happy and not involved in anything? So then decides to leave that shakha and perches on a higher shakha because wants to reach that bird. So it jumps to another higher shakha and then gets suddenly involved in that higher shakha birds because the fruits of the higher shakha, and then again gets some bitter tastes in between, and that is how slowly reaches the higher shakha, and where that higher shakha means now it is itself that higher bird. Excellent. Very good. So ultimately there is only one bird. So this entire jivatva bhav and the anubhav and the experience of this jiva, the entirety of it is dissolved. So where is the question of sayings? That's why when people say, how can I solve this problem, that problem? Vedanta says, if you are going to address one problem at a time, you cannot address it. Address the root of the problem. The root of the problem is avidya. So this samsara Brahman, that wandering about, is not going to end till you have chosen the path of values, dharma, and sticking to dharma and slowly moving towards your higher. Okay? So, yes. Thank you so much. We will end the class. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavanta Sukhinah Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Kaschit dukkha bhag bhave. So, yeah, for the week, just think about it. How much of these two classes, how we are able to relate to how it addresses us. So the more you're clear on that, the more the unfoldment will get clearer when the Gita starts. Abhito, we are going to have a fun time. First chapter is all Arjuna's mind. So it's going to be interesting for us to see fun only in the sense that this can happen to any one of us and is probably happening to all of us. So he becomes that, an objective view. You can see this is what happens to human life, human mind, human being. So first chapter, we'll see him fall still. Abhito, we have seen him in his higher point of confidence. Now we are going to see how his mind is going to overtake him. And so hopefully resolve soon. Okay. So Hari Om, thank you everyone. Thank you everyone. If there's any questions, as I said, leave it in the email, send it through email. Prefer it that way because then you can also think about the question and whatever will be relevant to be brought in the class, I'll bring it. If it is be addressed separate, wherever I'll fit the question that needs to be addressed. Okay. Thank you everyone. Hari Om.
Thank you, Didi.